Hello, members and friends of Whiteberry Unitarian Universalist Church. Welcome to our service on this day, this turning of the year. I hope your holidays were warm and filled with joy and love. As we have this service today, our last service focused on the theme of presence, I invite you to settle in wherever you're watching, let yourself be comfortable, maybe set down whatever you're doing and just give yourself this time to tune in, center your heart, center your body. I'm Reverend Jessica Clay, the lead minister of Whiteberry Unitarian Universalist Church. My pronouns are she, her. I'm so glad to welcome you to this time. Thank you for joining us in this online space. May you know the warmth of community in this time together, and may you come to our community in person next Sunday. We'll have 2 services at 9 and 11. I will be preaching. It's our annual service where we honor people who have died over the past year, so I hope to see you then. Thank you for joining us this morning, and we look forward to spending this time together.
I found a light between the cracks. I found a voice that shakes and still fights back. No weapon drawn can speak my peace. So now I'm calling on this war inside of me. The words that we speak out loud becomes the house that we live in. The fire inside has the power to build or burn bridges. There ain't no right side or wrong. Maybe it's time we all listen. How many poplar trees have made a sound when the branches bend and no one's around? I'm not the only wave that shapes the shore, right in the shoulders of those who came before. The words that we speak out loud becomes the house that we live in. The fire inside has the power to build or burn bridges. There is no right side or wrong. Maybe it's time we all answer the wake up call and listen. The love and the hate we give becomes the house that we live in. The love and the hate we give becomes the house we live in. The love and the hate that we give becomes the house that we live in. Answer the wake up call and listen.
Come in. Come into this place which we make holy by our presence. Come in with all of your vulnerabilities and strengths, fears and anxieties, loves and hopes. For here you will need not hide nor pretend, nor be anything other than who you are and who you are called to be. Come into this place where we can touch and be touched, heal and be healed, forgive and be forgiven. Come into this place where the ordinary is sanctified, the human is celebrated, the compassionate is expected. Come into this place. Together we make it a holy place. My name is Rack, and I use he, they.
The chalice that I'm lighting for you this morning is very dear to me. It's very beautiful, green and purple. It was designed and made by a previous congregant of mine. It has my name on the inside and the date of my ordination. And so I light this chalice on this morning of the turning of the year as we look towards January and all that it holds. I light it for the place of this liberal faith in our lives, the place of community, the power of community to hold us. Though we are separate this morning, we will be together next week. We will be together in the weeks to come with whatever may come. And for that, I light our chalice. Will you join me in our opening words? Love is the spirit of this church, and service is its law. This is our great covenant, to dwell together in peace, to seek the truth in love, and to help one another.
Loosen, loosen, baby. You don't have to carry the weight of the world in your muscles and bones. Let go, let go, let go. Loosen, loosen, baby. You don't have to carry the weight of the world in your muscles and bones. Let go, let go, let go. Holy breath and holy name, will you ease this pain? Holy breath and holy name, will you ease this pain? Loosen, loosen, baby, and you don't have to carry the weight of the world in your muscles and bones. Let go, let go. Loosen, loosen, baby, and you don't have to carry the weight of the world in your muscles and bones. Let go, let go. Loosen, loosen, baby, and you don't have to carry the weight of the world in your muscles and bones. Let go, let go. Loosen, loosen, baby, and you don't have to carry the weight of the world in your muscles and bones. Let go, let go. Loosen, loosen, baby, and you don't have to carry the weight of the world in your muscles and bones. Let go, let go. The weight of the world in your muscles and bones. Let go, let go. The weight of the world in your muscles and bones. Let go, let go. The weight of the world in your muscles and bones. Let go, let go, let go.
In place of a story for the service today, we are going to show you some reflections from members and friends of this congregation that we filmed in early December. We asked them 3 questions to sit with and to think about. The first one is, what is this new year asking of us? The second question is, what are the spiritual invitations in the turning of the year for you? And the third question was, if you were to set an intention for the year, what would it be? So as you look at these reflections from members and friends of this community, I invite you to think about what your answer would be for these questions.
I'm Celeste Klein. My pronouns are she, her. And the question is, what is this new year asking from us? I think it's asking us to be intentional, to love all the people around us no matter what. It's going to be a rough year, but we can do it. And that's pretty much it. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Kate Booth. My pronouns are she, her. If I were to set an intention for this year, it's more about community, being right here, present, but kind of feeling the warmth of others, the understanding of others, and as we all need to do is to listen a bit better.
This is Artist Salomo, she, her. And if I were to set an intention for the year, it's related to listening. Been reading How to Know a Person by David Brooks, and it's really hitting me strongly about the importance of really listening to somebody and hearing what's deep inside what they're saying. And that's my strength for the year.
Okay, my name's Stephen Freund. I would prefer not to use pronouns, but I'm open to they, he, him. For this year, I'm starting. This coming year, I'm starting, and my intention is to start my 4th quarter of life, probably, and try to move in a. Try to wrap up things from the past and begin to move in a new direction. And I'm hoping that will be a kind of a spiritual direction that involves community and organizing and putting to use all of the variety of skills I've gathered over the years in those areas.
My name is Kari Rodriguez. My pronouns are she, her. And my intentions for this year, I think I want to keep in mind our closing words, which are, may courage still our will and love of truth forever guide us. And add on to that, let us also hold each other up and take care of each other.
Hello, I am Kirk Cobb, and I do all pronouns. And for the coming year, I'm very anxious about where we are politically in this country, but I'm very optimistic. Hopefully, Elon Musk will teach Donald Trump something about renewable energy and the future of electric vehicles for the well-being of our environment. Thank you very much, and best wishes to everyone in 2025.
Hi, I'm Carol Nelson. Pronouns are she, her. If I were to set an intention for the new year, I think it would be to be more in the moment, to not be thinking about the past so much or the future, but to really enjoy the moment. And in particular with my grandkids, but with everyone else as well.
Hi, I'm Alan Mitchell. My pronouns are he, him. What is the new year asking from us? Well, first of all, it's just amazing how fast time goes. I turned a big decade number here, and I'm into my 80s now, which is quite surprising. But I think what New Year expects from me is to be alert, be active. I was at the Women's March in 2017 when Trump was inaugurated the first time, and there was an 80-year-old woman there who had a sign that said, "I did this during the Vietnam War. I'm too old for this." But I think next year I'm going to have to be active again, and I hope all goes well. Happy holidays.
My name is Janet or Panowitz, and my pronouns are she, her. And the question is, if you were to set an intention for the year, what would that be? And for me, it would be an intention to remain calm in the face of threats to my well-being, and which are very large at the moment in terms of the national scene. So far, I have been very good at both compartmentalizing, in other words, not allowing my fears and anxieties and desperation about the world and our nation right now to run my life or run my mind. And part of how I've been able to remain calm so far has to do with meditation and with carrying the intention of meditation, daily meditation, into my life. So that's my intention, to continue with meditation and with effective compartmentalizing.
My name is Dick Ottman. My pronouns are he, him. I'm going to answer the question, if you were set an intention for the year, what would that be? My intention is to continue to do what I'm doing, active politically, helping out people who are running for special elections so we can overthrow the reign of terror in Washington. And I'll continue to work on social justice issues and continue to resist what's going on in the country and meditate and pray for peace. Thank you.
My name is Victor Abanowitz. My pronouns are he, him. My intention for the year is to remain alert, observant, and to carefully examine the most constructive counter forces against the deplorable trends now going on in our republic, and to join with them to set things right with the most effective organizations that are working for that goal. So my intentions are basically to find what kind of action to take and to get into it.
Hi, I'm Rhonda Chris, and I use she, her pronouns. And my intention for the new year is to enjoy every moment.
Okay, I'm Nikki Moyer. I go by she, her. And the question, what is the new year asking from us? I feel like it's asking a lot of us being steadfast and faithful and kind to each other. I just read a thing that militia groups are volunteering to help deport people. So I'm working on being steadfast and brave and sticking with people who are kind.
Hello, my name is Diane Markel. I use she, her pronouns. Setting an intention for 2025, I'm going to use the word turning. How am I turning the negatives into the positives? How am I turning around so that I can face this life with my community, my beloved community of White Bear Unitarian Universalist Church?
Our prayer today is from Bruce Clary. So I invite you to settle into your seat, cast your eyes down or close them. If you're watching this, doing things, maybe making breakfast or cleaning up, maybe just take a moment and pause. Let these words settle into your heart and your mind. Our prayer this morning is prayer for the country in crisis. O God of justice and righteousness, Goddess of compassion and peace, form an alliance to sustain and strengthen us in this time of our anguish and travail. Help us to understand that the horrible images we see over and over again will fade, in time, into tranquil landscapes and portraits of courage. O God of the eternal tides and goddess of the evening stars, bring to us assurance of the confident and reliable rhythms of life and the serenity of safe nights. In this terrible time of testing wills and tempting vengeance, give us the words to soothe and comfort one another, to promise the children that we will always be near, to pledge to the grieving the healing balm of our sympathy and hope, and to offer those who are anxious and afraid a calm and abiding trust in love's consecrating power. O God of strength, Goddess of enfolding care, combine your skills to steer us through the turbulent storm. Crack our hardened hearts so that we may see again the light of divinity in each human soul. Help us to reject blind retribution and despair. Focus our vision on a world cradled in peace, and help us to dedicate our lives to the work of the preservation and proclamation of freedom and justice for all. O God of life, O Goddess of light, we ask for your benediction upon the innocent lives lost, the families torn asunder, and upon our country in need of the resuscitation of its heart and the recuperation of its soul. Give the sustenance of peace to a world whose eyes have seen too much of terror and violence, and not enough of reason and loving kindness. Grant us wisdom to sheathe the sword of anger and courage to proclaim liberty to the captives of fear. Grant us wisdom, grant us courage for the facing of this hour, for the facing of this year to come. Amen.
Dona nobis pacem pacem, dona nobis pacem.
Dona nobis pacem, dona nobis pacem, dona nobis pacem pacem, dona nobis pacem, dona nobis pacem pacem, dona nobis pacem.
Each week, we have the practice of collecting money for our offertory plate. Some of the weeks, the money goes out the door to a worthy organization, and other weeks, it goes to support the work of this church. I'm standing here by our pledge payment and donation box, which also goes to support the work of this church. Today, even though the service is online, we will still be collecting an offertory. You can mail your offertory donation to the office, or you can donate through text to give. The number will be on your screen shortly. The money that you give today will go to continue to work to support our mission and vision of being a place of refuge, of doing good work in the world, of supporting families and people in all the ages and stages of life. However you choose to give today, thank you for your donation. The offertory is gratefully received.
My name is Amy, and my pronouns are she, her. Don't try so hard. It comes in a shiver sometimes, sometimes in a winter window pane, wild with the unseeable frozen there, the shapes above clouds, the score of wind and the words, too, the plot of waves and the brain that lays and abandons them. Don't try so hard. Sometimes it falls, a flake at a time, into your life when you're asleep. Sometimes it comes as a winter blankness, waiting for a storm, or ice, or thaw, or even wind. And then the air by itself groans, and the trees speak out of themselves. The swamp shudders, and the woods come too. Sometimes it comes when you least expect it, and sometimes it doesn't. Quiet, still, no voice, not even small. No whirlwind, no reply, no burning, just a bare winter bush. The space between stars where noise goes to die, and the space between atoms where the charges thin out, these are places too. The moment and the movement of the soul when it all seems to stop, seized up. This is true too. Ice is also, and dormancy. I don't mean the stirring of seeds beneath the snow, but the place between and the moment before. And I don't mean a lightning bolt, but what it passes through. I don't mean a dream, but dumb sleep. After the end and before the beginning is time too. Let it alone. Don't try so hard. This is God too. All of you is.
Our second reading today is The Journey from Mary Oliver. One day, you finally knew what you had to do and began. Though the voices around you kept shouting their bad advice, though the whole house began to tremble and you felt the old tug at your ankles. Mend my life, each voice cried, but you didn't stop. You knew what you had to do, though the wind pried with its stiff fingers at the very foundations, though their melancholy was terrible. It was already late enough, and a wild night, and the road full of fallen branches and stones. But little by little, as you left their voice behind, the stars began to burn through the sheets of clouds, and there was a new voice, which you slowly recognized as your own, that kept you company as you strode deeper and deeper into the world, determined to do the only thing you could do, determined to save the only life you could save.
When I breathe in, I breathe in peace. When I breathe out, I breathe out love. When I breathe in, I breathe in peace. When I breathe out, I breathe out love. When I breathe in, I breathe in peace. When I breathe out, I breathe out love.
The morning after the 2016 election, Cesar Vargas's 74-year-old mother, who's undocumented, walked into the living room and asked him if the results were in. He told her what had happened, and she replied with 3 words, "En la lucha." The fight continues. Another translation of this is, the struggle continues. And here we are, 8 years later, on the cusp of a new year, and the fight and the struggle continues. And maybe some of you, like me, use the holidays to distract yourself, to tune out the fears and anxieties of the new year. For many of us, the holidays gave us an opportunity to focus on something else other than the election, to place our fears on a shelf, if it were, as it were. I prefer to distract myself with Hallmark holiday movies. I sang, I ate, I enjoyed my dear ones' company, and I feel grateful for that. And I know that for some of you, the holidays weren't a distraction because it's a difficult time. And so I send you care if that was you this past holiday season. So today, on this 29th of December, with New Year's just on the horizon, New Year's is a day when we can hit the restart button. January is named after the god Janus, who was known for being depicted looking forward and looking back. He was the god of beginnings, endings, and transitions. And we're in this time on the cusp of a new year with unlimited possibilities before us. And we are different. We are changed from that New Year's 8 years ago. We are changed in the ways that fear and uncertainty that are carried on our hearts as we look forward and look back at the same time. And what's true is that there are so many things out of our control, but how we choose to enter this year is not one of them. Whether we choose to make resolutions, to choose a word or an intention for the year, now is that time if that practice speaks to you. We heard earlier how people are approaching the new year, and my hope is that through this service you have felt grounded and that you will move into the new year with presence and compassion for yourself and others. This is the last service in this month on presence. And as we enter 2025, we're invited to ground ourselves in our spiritual practices, ground ourselves in presence. This is what will hold us for what will come this year. And if I sound like a broken record about spiritual practices, it's because I am. But the truth is, when we commit ourselves to spiritual practices, we're preparing for what is to come each day. We're making each day its own New Year's Day of sorts. With each morning when we rise out of bed, we have another chance to hit the reset button, leaving all of what happened the day before behind us, moving forward, resolving to do things differently, maybe to be more present, more open and loving. Some of you might be thinking, hello, I am watching this service on YouTube right now. That's my spiritual practice. I come to church. That's my spiritual practice. But I encourage you to continue doing that, please, but also push yourself to do a little more, to do something daily that helps you to connect to yourself, to intentionally set aside time to care for that inner part of your soul that no one else sees, to care for that spark of God or love within you that shines so brightly. And it's true that often the things we do each day, they're done on autopilot. Laundry, dishes, feeding ourselves. But tending the soul becomes optional. It becomes the first thing that's thrown off the to-do list when the immediacies of life take over and when fear for our nation, for our world takes over. Making time for spiritual practices is an act of compassion and care for oneself that radiates out to the world. Since the election, I've tried to make time for meditation and a little bit of yoga each morning. I've managed to meditate most of the mornings, and yoga we're still working on, but that's my goal for right now. In Frederick and Marianne Brissat's book, Spiritual Literacy, they write that Albert Einstein once was asked, "What's the most important question in life?" And he replied, "Is the universe a friendly place or not?" He was asking, do we move from fear or friendliness? And Mary Oliver responded to him asking this by saying, there's only one question: how to love the world. Whether we see the world as friendly or not, as we sit en la lucha, in the struggle, every single day we get an opportunity to ask how we are loving this world. For love is an act of resistance. Love of ourselves is the ultimate act. And many see New Year's resolutions as a path to loving oneself more. But most New Year's resolutions center around wanting to be different in some way, around weight or appearance, and body positive activist Sonia Renee Taylor suggests an alternative resolution. She says, I want people to know they can revise the New Year, New You mantra and instead say, New Year, same me. And that is more than enough. Our constant endeavor to become new often makes us invisible to all of the ways in which our current selves are magnificent. Your current self is magnificent. The flame of our soul needs tending. As soon as we step outside of our doors, to-do lists beckon, and that flame of our soul, the connection to the divine, it struggles to stay lit in the grocery store, pumping gas, and the ever ongoing task of putting away holiday decorations. Connecting to the divine in those moments is often the furthest thing from our minds. Stephen Philbrick, in his poem from this morning that Amy read, says, don't try so hard. It comes in a shiver sometimes. This is God too. All of you is. Don't try so hard. It comes in a shiver. Yet all it takes is turning on the news, and our connection to the divine feels like a far-off thing, a ship that's sailed, a star that has burned out. The Benedictine nun Joan Chittister tells the story of an elder talking to a disciple. Where shall I look for God? The disciple says. Here, the elder said. When will it happen? The disciple asked. It's happening right now, the elder answered. Then why don't I experience it? The disciple persisted. Because you do not look, the elder said. But what should I look for? The disciple continued. Nothing, just look. But at what? Anything your eyes alight upon, the elder answered. But must I look in some special kind of way? The disciple went on. No, the ordinary way will do, the elder said. But don't I always look the ordinary way? The disciple said. No, you don't, the elder said. But why ever not? The disciple asked. Because to look, you must be here. You're mostly somewhere else, the elder said. Now, whether or not you are a theist, to see God or love, one must be present. One must be grounded, and from that place, compassion radiates. Albert Schweitzer says, your soul suffers if you live superficially. So as we enter 2025, I urge you to place nurturing of your soul above so many other things. Make it a priority, whatever that looks like for you. Discover the ways that you are magnificent. Discover and fall in love with yourself and God again and again. As we look forward and back, the true gift is in grounding oneself in the present from a place of compassion. The easy road is to look at all the things we aren't, of all the ways we could do better, be better, etc. The difficult but more rewarding practice is to ask how you are loving life, and that includes yourself. Life with all of its complexities, which is full of reasons not to love it, in fact, downright despise it. Yet the path of resistance is to love it and yourself down to the marrow, to do those spiritual practices that quiet the cacophony of life, to see God or love in the ordinary. I think that all of you rare and beautiful, exceptional souls who are coming to church this morning in your living rooms and coffee shops, wherever you're watching this on this morning, on this day, maybe you're watching it in the evening, you're already on the path. We are all here for each other in this community, even on days like this when we're online. And we all have things to learn from each other. We as a community, as a common humanity, are incredibly resilient. When you look forward and back, may you continue to remember that. We are all in this together, growing, nurturing, and resisting. Some of us are struggling to get out of bed. Others are struggling for hope. At the end of her poem from this morning, Mary Oliver states, "But little by little, as you left their voices behind, the stars began to burn through the sheets of clouds, and there was a new voice, which you slowly recognized as your own, that kept you company as you strode deeper and deeper into the world, determined to do the only thing you could do, determined to save the only life you could save." We are the beacons of hope for each other. When we choose to recognize our own magnificence, we are better able to see it reflected in the light of another. We're not alone. We're in this together, with whatever this day, this week, and this year may bring to us. By committing to our spiritual practices and to our magnificence, we're preparing ourselves for this journey. En la lucha were the three words Cesar Vargas's mother stated. En la lucha. The fight continues, and we are all needed, with all of ourselves in this together. Each day we get a chance to restart. What if you committed to seeing your magnificence each day? Committed to seeing how you're going to love life each day, and committed to those spiritual practices which ground you. We each are needed for what's to come. You watching this, you are needed and important. You matter. Whether you sign petitions, show up at rallies, or watch from afar, you matter. Your presence in this community matters. Your life matters, and you are what is needed this year. May you find and nurture your own soul as if your life depended on it, because it does. May you choose to love life each day, even when it's impossible. May you share this spark with another whose light has gone dim. Together, we will illuminate the world with love, because that is the resistance that is needed now.
We are here to be lifted in love. Look at the birds, they tell us. We are here to be lifted in love. Look at the trees, they tell us. We're here to be lifted in love, to listen to love as a flower raises its face to the sun. We are all one, here to be lifted in grace and love. We are here to be lifted in love. Look at the sky, it tells us we are here to be lifted in love. Look at the trees, they tell us we're here to be lifted in love, to listen to love as the children raise all their faces to the sun. We are all one, here to be lifted in grace and love. We are here to be lifted in love. Look at the trees, they tell us we are here to be lifted in love. Look at the seas, they tell us we're here to be lifted in love, to listen to love as the flower raises its face to the sun. We are all one, here to be lifted in grace and love.
Our closing words today are from Reverend Wayne Arneson. They're familiar and beloved. Take courage, friends. The way is often hard, the path is never clear, and the stakes are very high. Take courage, for deep down there is another truth. You are not alone.